Joining us now is Chirag Sheth. He's Principal Consultant, South Asia Metal Focus. Chirag, hi. Thank you so much for joining in. First of all, your sense on the gold price is a very smart rebound, 2% up on Friday, and we're looking at more gains continuing in the day today, all thanks to the US jobs data, which has been lowered for the month of July. And May and June also have been revised on the lower side. Do you think with the probability increasing of a rate cut from Fed for the month of September, and that's exactly where the gold seems to be taking cues from, how are you reading it all?
Hi, Manisha. Good afternoon. So essentially, gold was waiting for triggers, given that it had faced a lot of headwinds over the last, month or so. We saw, very good correction in gold prices. And then probably jobs data has provided that, support to gold. I think, probably you are now seeing the first signs of weakness in the U.S. economy purely because of the impact of the tariffs. I think U.S. economy over the last 4 or 5 months have been able to weather the storm because of the spendings on AI and various other things. I think now you are actually seeing a bit of impact on the economy. There is also now fear of inflationary concerns, and I think that provides an impetus to any actually discussion on rate cut, which Fed has avoided, as of now. So I think market is now trying to price in 2 rate cuts, and I think that is something which is providing fillip to gold prices.
Are we finally, Chirag, heading back towards that 3,500 marks? I mean, I know you've been holding on to that 4,000 of a forecast going forward. Is this what gives us enough pressure for the gold prices to gain much beyond?
Yeah, I think probably these are the first signs, hopefully, of continued rally in the coming months. And I think we, as you said, we still believe that probably 3,800 by end of this year or early first quarter, and then 4,000 next year is very much a possibility for gold prices. I think this is probably a trigger that the market was waiting for.
But not the trigger that the Indian consumers perhaps were waiting for, especially as we get into the festival season. How are you looking at the numbers? I was talking to World Gold Council, and they believe instead of a 700 to 800 imports, this year could see 600 to 700 tons of imports. How do you read those numbers?
Look, there is a jewelry show which is going on currently in Mumbai, and I think the mood was pretty much upbeat till yesterday. In fact, you spoke with manufacturers, they would tell you that the retailers have started stocking. Now, I think there is a fear of cancellations, because usually what happens is that orders get placed at the IIJS, and then there are finalization of purchases happens in a week or 2 weeks after the IIJS. And now if the gold prices continue to rise, then the retailers will once again start cutting back on inventory buildup. So I think we are now looking at probably that scenario. And I would not be surprised if we would still do probably about 700 tons of import, because our investment demand has been pretty robust. I think jewelry demand is something which is getting impacted currently.
Well, the rupee depreciation also seems to be taking the gold prices in the Indian markets quite on the higher side there. But Chirag, we've seen more hallmark centers being added. This is what the latest BIS report shows us right ahead of the festive season. Still not a very strong number with the kind of district distribution in sense of hallmarking centers that we've seen.
But I think, look, to be very honest, if you look at the hallmarking law, it clearly states that the hallmarking has to happen in the first point of sale. So if you actually look at Indian manufacturing setup, I think there are 11 cities as per Metals Focus where majority of our manufacturing happens. Usually 80 to 85% of manufacturing happens in these cities. So still a large part of jewelry which is manufactured in India is getting hallmarks. Yes, there is still need of hallmarking to go into the tier 3 and the tier 4 towns, but I think we are on the right direction, to be very honest.
Chirag, you talked about investing, and that demand really seems to be picking up. Within this as well, would you say it's more about 24 carat than any other caratages that investors are looking at?
So, usually most of the bars and coins which are sold in India predominantly are 995, 39 bars. There is also a growing interest of 22 carat, bars and coins. But mostly we are an out-and-out 995 and a 39 investment market.
Chirag, coming on to the silver prices also, because after that sharp decline that we saw in the last couple of weeks, after silver hit 39, we seem to be consolidating, even slightly back up again. A lot of questions being asked on whether silver can see further profit taking from here. If yes, what would you see as a range, both sides?
So I think in the near term, silver did get, silver prices did get impact because of two reasons. One, we saw a bit of weakness in the base metals prices, so that actually pushed silver, down. But also this whole talk about, the big beautiful bill, which reduces tax ops on green energy, clean energy, EVs. Obviously, that to some extent, because silver is used in photovoltaic, in EV, it did impact that. But we don't see any major impact on the demand supply as of now, and that's why we continue to remain bullish on silver. We've been saying this for many years now that $42 to $45 is somewhere we see silver going forward, and any opportunity that one should get, one should be invested in silver.
All right. Chirag, we also are hearing about hallmarking coming in for silver and bullion. How far is that in sense of progress or development?
Look, this has been coming, Manisha, for last 4 or 5 years, hasn't it? And I think, look, it's a step in the right direction, given the level of, I would not say undercarriages, but the lack of awareness of purities in silver. You've got silverware, which is 30% pure, 50% pure, 60% pure, to 92%. You really don't know. And I think getting hallmarking would provide a lot of clarity to the buyers.
All right, we take that point. Thank you so much, Chirag, for joining in. Manisha, it's poetic that the Nifty has moved to the high point of trade, 24,713, and it's the metals which are doing well right now. The metals index comes up for you 2.5% higher on that index, and that's led by a sharp spike that we've seen in Tata Steel, which is now up almost 4.5%, and pull up, something like a JSW Steel as well. So it's just been the last 15 minutes or so where all these metal names have moved higher and currently taking the index higher as well, the Nifty at the high point. Take a short break, come back on the other side. We get back with the management of Jupiter Lifeline Hospitals on their first quarter earnings. Stay with us.